August 28th, 2020 at 10:17 p.m., I received a text message from a friend that said Chadwick Boseman had passed. I didn't believe it at first. Like my phone was blowing up. And then as soon as I opened up other notifications, different news sources was dropping Chadwick Boseman had passed away from stage 4 colon cancer. I was like, shit, 2020 is really a terrible year. Not just because he passed, not because Kobe passed, it's because everything seems to be happening in a negative way in 2020. Some people would say this is probably one of the worst years ever recorded in human history. I don't know what happened in the past. Some people may say other years. But this year, seeing that Chadwick Boseman died, and then going back to see that he battled colon cancer for 4 years. He was diagnosed in 2016 at stage 3 colon cancer. So who knows how long he was actually fighting this before he actually got the diagnosis. So in those 4 years, he made Gods of Egypt, Captain America Civil War, Message from the King in 2017. He made Marshall. 2018, he made Black Panther. He made Infinity War. In 2019, he made Endgame and 21 Bridges. I actually just finished watching The Five Bloods that's on Netflix. Pretty good movie. In those 4 years, he didn't complain publicly. He didn't let everybody know what he was going through. He was still doing charity work. He launched Operation 42 to help get masks and other personal protective equipment to hospitals and things like that. And during that video, people was like speculating, oh, he's on drugs because he lost a bunch of weight. He's on drugs. Oh, he's sick. He got this, he got that. And now these people gotta seriously look back at themselves and say, damn, I was fucking wrong. Or I was right that he was sick. But during those 4 years, he was dying and he accomplished all that. There is no excuses as to why anybody can't accomplish anything. I'm like stumbling over my words because this is just ridiculous. Chadwick Boseman, played iconic people over his short acting career. He hasn't had decades of acting like your Denzel Washingtons and your Tom Hanks and all these other leading men in Hollywood. Those 4 years, he did a bunch of charity work at St. Jude. You see him crying at a panel when he talked about cancer, not knowing he was actually fighting cancer. That goes back to say, what is your excuse as to not accomplishing your goals? I have no excuse. He had, and the roles he performed while going through surgeries, treatments, and everything like that, you look back and see how well he performed. He didn't look sickly. He didn't look out of place in these movies. He even did tons of interviews. Hell, during a Breakfast Club interview, he put me on to something I never even heard of, something called African ancestry. He said that pinpoints the exact tribe that your ancestors come from in Africa. It's not just a region like other DNA testing sites will give you. So he put me on to that. I'm actually looking into getting an African ancestry so I can see what my lineage is. He put me on to that off of an interview. During other interviews, when people used to give him the Wakandan salute, that he said that it doesn't get tiring. He said because it's like a sign of respect. He knew what he was doing. He knew he was on limited time, and he did everything possible to make sure his family was good financially, and that he just banged out great films. You could say whatever you want about certain films and, you know, whether he should have played certain roles. But the roles that he played, James Brown, Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall, when he played Black Panther, it gave people an identity of a superhero, a black superhero. Even though there has been some in the past, he gave an identity that they can actually relate to. Not just him. He made other black people, black women especially, because they were at the forefront of that movie as well. Chadwick Boseman, what he accomplished in that short span of time has not been seen before. I can't remember. If you can, leave a comment and let me know who actually accomplished that in a matter of 4 years. Did so much charity work in a matter of 4 years. He even joked around on Saturday Night Live. Great sketches. "2020 is a terrible year. Nothing is going to shock me anymore. Somebody could say anything about 2020 from here on out, and then guess what? I'm gonna be like, that's just 2020. 2020 has brought us that. Whether it's police brutality, whether it's people dying by the thousands of coronavirus, whether it's this presidential race that's going on, whether it's the civil unrest that's going on all across the country. Nothing is going to shock me anymore about 2020. But what I will say is Chadwick Boseman, from what I've seen over the past 6-7 years of him acting and his interviews and things like that, he has been a classy gentleman. So what am I going to do? What is my excuses for me not to do anything that I wanted to do? I have none. You have none. Why aren't you accomplishing the goals that you set yourself out for? It's because you're lazy. This man wasn't lazy. If you could take anything that Chadwick Boseman did, you could see his work ethic and you could see that he had no excuses. I think I'm done here.